Gentlemen, listen carefully because she feels more than you think when she lets you that close. Most men think intimacy is about technique, about speed, or how long they can last. But when a woman finally opens her body to you, her mind is running a different program. She is scanning your energy, your focus, your self-control. She is wondering, am I safe with this man? Is he here with me or just using my body to escape his own emptiness? While you are busy worrying about performance, she is silently deciding whether this moment will be forgettable or the one that keeps her replaying you in her head for years. Let's be real, my friend. Nobody taught you how female psychology works in the most intimate moments. You were told to chase pleasure, not presence. That is why so many good men leave a woman satisfied but emotionally untouched, while a rare man with less effort leaves a mark she cannot shake. In this video, I am going to walk you through 10 secrets of her sensations so you understand what is happening inside her mind when things get close and how to carry yourself like a grounded man. She feels not just a body she uses. Stay with me, because when you hear this, you will never look at intimacy that way again. Let's get into it. Secret 1. The sensation before touch. The sensation before touch. My friend, let's be real. The moment most men pay attention to is the moment things get physical. But the moment she feels the strongest, deepest pull towards you happens before you touch her. Long before. Women are wired to respond to anticipation, tension, and the energy you carry when you are close, but not yet claiming anything. That space between intention and action is where her sensations actually begin. To make this real, let me bring you into a situation many men your age have lived through, but never fully understood. Picture a man named Richard, 58, from Colorado. He is divorced, built a comfortable life, and now he is quietly exploring dating again. He meets a woman named Melissa, 54, confident, warm, but guarded in a way that only comes from years of life experience. They like each other. They go out a few times. Nothing intense, yet nothing rushed. But the chemistry is there, quietly simmering under the surface. One evening, they end up standing close while saying goodnight. Not touching, not kissing, just close enough for that shift in the air to happen. And this is the part most men miss. While Richard is wondering whether he should make a move, she is already feeling something far deeper than the moment itself. Her breath steadies, her chest warms, her thoughts scatter, her body reacts before her mind even catches up. Because for women, sensation starts in the anticipation, not the contact. That pause before anything happens tells her everything about the man in front of her. His confidence, his calm, his certainty, his patience. Melissa scans him without trying to. Women do this automatically after a certain age. She is feeling whether he is grounded or jittery, whether he is present or performing, whether he is in his body or trapped in his head. If he rushes, desire collapses. If he hesitates out of fear, attraction dissolves. But if he stands there, steady, relaxed, unhurried, she feels a small wave rise inside her. That wave is not excitement. It is surrender. And most men have no idea they are capable of creating that just by slowing down. This is the heart of Secret 1. Women react to energy, not motion. A man who knows how to hold the moment without forcing it becomes unforgettable. A man who lets tension breathe becomes addictive. And a man who understands that the first sensation she feels is psychological, not physical, instantly separates himself from every man who thinks intimacy is only about what happens once bodies connect. Now, here is why anticipation matters so much to her. When she is close to a man who is patient, controlled, and intentionally slow, she feels safe enough to let her emotional guard loosen. Her nervous system softens, her thoughts quiet. Her desire grows in a way that is both gentle and powerful. You are not overwhelming her. You are awakening her, and she feels that in her entire body long before you lay a hand on her. So remember this, my friend. The most intimate moment is the moment before anything begins. The pause, the breath, the space charged with possibility. That is where her sensations start. That is where her attraction builds. That is where you become the man she cannot stop thinking about. Now, anchor this insight. Drop a comment with the words, "I build tension." Stick with me because the next secret reveals why her mind dictates her body far more than any technique ever could. Secret 2, the mind that drives her body. My friend, let's be real. Most men, too. The mind that drives her body. Believe a woman's body responds to touch first. But the truth is far more subtle. Her body does not lead the experience. Her mind does. A woman's deepest sensations start in her thoughts, her emotions, her inner narrative long before anything physical happens. And if you don't understand what is happening there, you will never understand what she actually responds to. In the original breakdown, this was the key message. Her body follows her psychology. Meaning this, my friend. If her mind is tense, unsure, distracted, or unaligned with you, nothing you do physically will land the way you think. But if her mind feels understood, seen, and emotionally in rhythm with you, even the smallest gesture can create a reaction that feels powerful. This is why some men do very little and get an intense response while others try everything and get nothing. It is not skill, it is alignment. This is where Stoic wisdom fits perfectly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed by the colour of its thoughts." For a woman, the sensations she feels are dyed by her inner state. If she is thinking about trust, safety, curiosity, desire, you trigger deep connection. If she is thinking about hesitation, doubt, or pressure, her body shuts down. You cannot override her psychology. You can only lead it with presence. The men who fail in intimacy make one classic mistake. They try to create a physical response through physical effort. They rush, they force, they try to make something happen instead of letting something happen. And when you force a moment, you break it. But the men who understand Secret 2 do the opposite. They slow down, they tune in, and they pay attention to the emotional rhythm happening in her breathing, her eyes, and her subtle reactions. Here is what most men never realize. When a woman is with you, she is not just experiencing you. She is experiencing the way you make her feel about herself in that moment. She is asking silently, does he understand my pace? Does he sense my energy? Does he feel the shift inside me? And your ability to read her mind through her signals without guessing, without assuming, determines everything about how her body responds. This is why presence is more powerful than technique. Presence tells her, you are not lost in your head. You are not performing. You are not rushing to reach some outcome. You are here, grounded, aware, and connected to her experience. When she senses that her body reacts naturally, her breathing changes, her tension melts, her desire rises on its own because her mind has opened the door for it. A woman's body mirrors her emotional landscape. When she feels mentally aligned with you physically, she becomes responsive. When she feels mentally disconnected, her body becomes distant no matter what you do. That is why mastering intimacy is not about doing more. It is about tuning deeper. Remember this truth, my friend. Her mind is the gateway. Her body is the echo. When you touch her mind first, her body follows without resistance. When you ignore her inner world, her body goes quiet no matter how much effort you put in. Now, anchor this lesson. Drop a comment with the words, "I lead energy." Stay tuned because the next secret reveals the micro reactions she gives off that most men never notice, and why reading them changes everything. Secret 3. The micro reactions she 3. The micro reactions she can't hide. Can't hide. My friend, let's be real. Women are masters at controlling their words, but their bodies tell the truth in ways they can't hide. And if you want to understand what she is really feeling, you need to pay attention to the micro reactions happening in the space between you and her. These reactions are subtle, they're fast, and most men miss them completely. But once you learn to read them, you unlock a level of connection and anticipation that she feels instantly. Let me make this real with a situation you'll recognize. Picture a man named Daniel, 56, from Arizona. Solid guy, good lifelong career behind him, finally opening up to dating again. He meets a woman named Laura, 52, lively, sharp, with that mix of warmth and caution you see in women who have lived enough to know what they want. They're on their third date, sitting close the night, winding down. Nothing intense yet, but the chemistry is already building under the surface. While Daniel is talking, he notices something quick. When he leans in slightly, Laura's breath catches for half a second. When the conversation shifts into something personal, her eyes soften. When his voice lowers just a bit, she tilts her head without realizing it. Tiny movements, tiny signals, but they reveal everything. Her body is giving him green lights, whispers of, "Yes, keep going. I feel this." And Daniel would have missed all of it if he was stuck in his head worrying about impressing her or overthinking what to say. This is the power of micro-reactions. They are the honest language of her desire. They are how she communicates interest, curiosity, hesitation, and emotional readiness. A slight shift of her shoulders means she is opening. A slower blink means she is absorbing your presence. A gentle lean toward you means she feels safe. A sudden pull back of her hand means she needs you to slow your pace and match her energy. Most men overlook these cues, not because they're incapable, but because they're too focused on the goal instead of the moment. A woman's nervous system does not lie. And when you learn to read her microsignals, you stop guessing, you stop rushing, you stop forcing, you start leading, you start aligning with her, you start pacing her emotions instead of pushing past them. And Daniel would have missed all of it if he was stuck in his head worrying about impressing her or overthinking what to say. This is the power of micro-reactions. They are the honest language of her desire. They are how she communicates interest, curiosity, hesitation, and emotional readiness. A slight shift of her shoulders means she is opening. A slower blink means she is absorbing your presence. A gentle lean towards you means she feels safe. And when a woman feels that, when she feels a man who is tuned in, not desperate, not distracted, not detached, her guard softens faster than you can imagine. Daniel notices more when he pauses in the middle of a sentence. Laura's lips part slightly like she's waiting for him to continue. When he gets quiet for a moment, she doesn't pull away. She actually leans in a little. These tiny reactions tell him she's present with him, not just listening, but feeling. Drop a comment with the words I read. Signals. Stay with me because the next secret shows why timing, not speed, not pressure, is what makes her melt in ways she never forgets. Secret 4, the timing that makes her melt. My friend, let's be real. Most men, 4. The timing that makes her melt. Think intensity is what creates a powerful moment with a woman. But the truth is much simpler and far more strategic. What melts her? What breaks through her guard? What makes her body and mind respond in ways she cannot control is not pressure. It is timing. The right moment held with the right energy at the right pace. When your timing is off, everything feels mechanical. When your timing is on, everything feels effortless. And this is where most men fail without even realizing it. Women don't respond to speed. They respond to rhythm. They respond to a man who moves like he can feel the emotional landscape in front of him. Timing is awareness in motion. Timing is patience in action. Timing is presence expressed through pacing. And when you understand that, my friend, you instantly become the man she remembers. This aligns perfectly with Stoic wisdom. Seneca wrote, "To do the wrong thing and to do the right thing at the wrong time are equally harmful." He wasn't talking about romance, but the principle holds. When you move too quickly, you overwhelm her. When you move too slowly, you disconnect her. Timing is the balance between intention and restraint. It is the art of doing the right thing at the moment, when her mind and body are quietly ready. Here's what timing actually looks like in real life. When she softens her voice, you slow your energy to match the softness. When she becomes still, you hold the moment instead of filling it with nervous movement. When her breathing changes, you adjust your pace instead of forcing your own rhythm. These subtle adjustments tell her one thing. You are not rushing to reach an outcome. You are listening to her without her needing to say a word. And that kind of listening melts a woman before any physical touch ever does. Timing is also about contrast. A well-placed pause, a slower breath, a slight pullback that makes her lean forward emotionally, a moment of stillness that lets tension build naturally. Most men fear silence, but silence is where her imagination wakes up. Silence is where anticipation grows. Silence is where desire forms its edge. When your timing is right, she doesn't just feel you. She feels herself differently in your presence. Her mind sinks. Her guard lowers. Her emotions intensify. She becomes aware of every inch of space between you because the moment feels charged, not rushed. And that charge is what makes her melt. But here's the part most men never realize. Timing isn't about performing. It's about being attuned. The more grounded you are, the more clearly you can feel her pace. The more present you are, the easier it is to sense when to move, when to pause, when to slow, and when to let her come toward you. That sensitivity is rare in men, especially in a world that tells you to chase outcomes instead of moments. So remember this truth. You don't melt her by doing more. You melt her by moving with intention. When your timing aligns with her emotions, she feels something deeper than excitement. She feels understood. And for a woman, that is what unlocks everything else. Now, anchor the insight. Drop a comment with the words, "I move with purpose." And listen, my friend, when she softens her voice, you slow your energy to match the softness. When she becomes still, you hold the moment instead of filling it with nervous movement. When her breathing changes, you adjust your pace instead of forcing your own rhythm. These subtle adjustments tell her one thing. You are not rushing to reach an outcome. You are listening to her without her needing to say a word. And that kind of listening melts a woman before any physical touch ever does. Secret 5. The emotional realness she 5. The emotional realness she craves. My friend, let's be real. Nothing matters to a woman more than the emotional truth of the man in front of her. Not the polished lines, not the practiced charm, not the performance. What pulls her in is your realness, the version of you that is grounded, aware, and not hiding behind ego or insecurity. Secret 5 is all about that, because when a woman senses emotional realness, her entire body responds. She relaxes. She opens. She feels safe enough to feel deeper. And most men your age have never been taught how powerful that actually is. To make this real, let me take you into a familiar situation. Imagine a man named Robert, 57, from Michigan. Successful career, stable life, finally dating again after years of putting himself second. He meets a woman named Angela, 53, strong, elegant, with that mix of confidence and caution that comes from life's lessons. They like each other instantly, but Angela is watching him. Not what he says, but how he says it. Not the story, but the energy behind it. She's looking for the truth beneath the surface, because women in midlife don't fall for performances, they fall for presence. One evening, they're sitting across from each other at a quiet restaurant. The conversation turns personal. Instead of trying to impress her with achievements, Robert talks honestly about a moment in his life that shaped him. When a woman senses that she feels a shift inside her chest, her guard lowers because she realizes this is not a man performing a version of himself. This is a man who actually knows himself. And that is rare, especially in a world where most men think strength means hiding anything that isn't perfect. Here's the truth, my friend. A woman cannot connect deeply with a man who is emotionally hollow, but she also cannot connect with a man who spills everything without intention. When a woman senses that she feels a shift inside her chest, her guard lowers because she realizes this is not a man performing a version of himself. This is a man who actually knows himself. And that is rare, especially in a world where most men think strength means hiding anything that isn't perfect. Here's the truth, my friend. A woman cannot connect deeply with a man who is emotionally hollow, but she also cannot connect with a man who spills everything without intention. She responds to balance, to depth delivered calmly, to truth spoken without fear. Emotional realness is the space where confidence meets sincerity, and when a woman feels that her desire heightens because she feels safe in the presence of someone grounded, think about what Angela feels in that moment. Her breathing softens, her shoulders loosen, her voice drops. These are not random reactions. They are her body responding to emotional resonance. She feels that she can trust this man, not because he tells her to trust him, but because he shows up in his truth without trying to be anything else. That is what she craves. Not perfection, not a flawless image. She craves emotional congruence, the alignment between what you say, what you feel, and who you are. A man who hides nothing but overshares nothing becomes magnetic. A man who stands in his truth becomes unforgettable. Emotional realness is not weakness. It's masculine strength without noise. Not in a dramatic way, not to fish for sympathy, but with calm clarity. And here's the part that hits her. He doesn't hide the difficult parts. He doesn't decorate the good ones. He speaks like a man who accepts who he is without flinching. That emotional honesty delivered without heaviness is the exact thing her body responds to. Because emotional realness is not vulnerability for the sake of vulnerability. It's self-awareness. It's the strength of a man who doesn't need to pretend. 6. The energy shift that weakens her guard. Secret. 6. The energy shift that weakens her guard. My friend, let's be real. A woman's guard doesn't drop because of pressure, persuasion, or performance. It drops when the energy between you and her shifts in a way she didn't expect. Not a big move, not a dramatic gesture, a subtle change in your presence that tells her without a single word that she's safe and seen and no longer needs to protect herself. Women don't open because a man tries harder. They open because he becomes more grounded, more intentional, and more aware than they anticipated. In the original breakdown, this secret was built on one core truth. Her body responds to contrast. When your energy changes at the right moment from playful to calm, from confident to steady, from expressive to attentive, she feels that shift like a soft pull inside her chest. And that pull weakens defenses she didn't even realize she was holding. Think about what it means to shift your energy. It's not about acting different. It's about becoming present. It's the moment when you stop trying to impress her and start tuning into her. It's when your voice softens slightly, not because you're nervous, but because the connection just deepened. It's when you slow the pace, not because you're unsure, but because you feel her emotional rhythm adjusting to yours. This is the moment she subconsciously says, "Wait, something just happened." Stoic philosophy captures this idea beautifully. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." He meant that depth, mastery, and influence unfold through intention, not force. This is exactly how the energy shift works. You don't create it by pushing. You create it by becoming so grounded in yourself that the moment grows more meaningful around you. A woman feels that her guard weakens because she senses you are not reacting to her. You are guiding the experience with calm strength. The shift can happen in something as small as silence. Most men rush to fill quiet moments. They panic when the conversation slows. But when you hold a moment without breaking eye contact, without fidgeting, without apologizing for the silence, she feels your energy settle. And when your energy settles, hers follows. Her breath slows, her muscles loosen, her heart rate changes, her guard lowers. Another version of the shift is when you listen differently, not waiting to talk, not planning your next move, actually hearing her. When she feels you drop into that deeper level of attention, her body reacts. She becomes softer. Her tone warms. Her boundaries become less rigid because for the first time in a long time, she feels met. Not chased, not managed, met. The energy shift also shows up when you move from lightness to gravity. When a playful moment transitions into something sincere, when you let the room breathe for a second, when your presence becomes still instead of animated. This contrast is powerful because women are sensitive to emotional resonance. A grounded man creates resonance without trying. A woman feels it without explaining it, and her defenses lower without her choosing it. Here's the truth, my friend. A woman's guard is strongest when a man tries to take something from her. But it dissolves when he brings presence instead of pressure, when he leads the moment instead of chasing it, when his energy says, "I'm here." Not in a hurry, not performing, just steady. That is the shift that weakens everything she hides behind. Now, anchor this. Drop a comment with the words, "I shift energy." Let's keep going because the next secret reveals how your presence alone can override her thoughts and draw her deeper into the moment than she ever anticipated. The shift can happen in something as small as silence. Most men 7. The rhythm that pulls her deeper in. Rush to fill quiet moments. They panic when the conversation slows. But when you hold a moment without breaking eye contact, without fidgeting, without apologizing for the silence, she feels your energy settle. And when your energy settles, hers follows. Her breath slows, her muscles loosen, her heart rate changes, her guard lowers. Another version of the shift is when you listen differently, not waiting to talk. When your presence becomes still instead of animated, this contrast is powerful because women are sensitive to emotional resonance. A grounded man creates resonance without trying. A woman feels it without explaining it, and her defenses lower without her choosing it. Here's the truth, my friend. A woman's guard is strongest when a man tries to take something from her, but it dissolves when he brings presence instead of pressure. When he leads the moment instead of chasing it, the shift can happen in something as small as silence. Most men rush to fill quiet moments. They panic when the conversation slows. But when you hold a moment without breaking eye contact, without fidgeting, without apologizing for the silence, she feels your energy settle. And when your energy settles, hers follows. Her breath slows, her muscles loosen, her heart rate changes, her guard lowers. Another version of the shift is when you listen differently, not waiting to talk. You are here, grounded, aware, and connected to her experience. When she senses that her body reacts naturally, her breathing changes. Her tension melts. Her desire rises on its own because her mind has opened the door for it. A woman's body mirrors her emotional landscape. When she feels mentally aligned with you physically, she becomes responsive. When she feels mentally disconnected, her body becomes distant no matter what you do. That is why mastering intimacy is not about doing more. While Eric listens to her, he is not drifting off in his head. He is not planning his next line. He is not trying to shape the moment into what he wants it to be. He is simply there fully. His attention is steady. His breathing is calm. His eyes are relaxed. His energy is anchored. And Linda feels it before she even understands what she is feeling. Her thoughts, which normally run fast, begin to slow. Her voice drops without her noticing. Her shoulders loosen. She begins to speak more openly, more honestly, because his presence is creating a sense of emotional gravity she cannot resist. She stops evaluating him. She stops predicting the moment. She stops worrying about how she is coming across. Eric's presence overwrites her mental noise, and her body reacts to that emotional stillness. Here's what most men never realize. Presence is not silence. Presence is attention with weight. It is the feeling of being seen without being judged. Gentlemen, listen carefully, because she feels more than you think when she lets you that close. Most men think intimacy is about technique, about speed, or how long they can last. But when a woman finally opens her body to you, her mind is running a different program. She is scanning your energy, your focus, your self-control. She is wondering, am I safe with this man? Is he here with me or just using my body to escape his own emptiness? When you carry that inner quiet into a moment with a woman, she feels it. Your inner stillness becomes the stability her emotions can rest on. Your calm becomes the place where her mind slows down. Your presence becomes the anchor that allows her to experience the moment instead of analyzing it. Eric doesn't need to push. He doesn't need to impress. He doesn't need to prove anything. Because when a man shows up fully without fear or pretense, a woman begins to feel more than she thinks. And that is the moment her guard dissolves. Now anchor this truth. Drop a comment with the words, I bring presence. Don't go anywhere because the next secret reveals how your rhythm, not your words, not your intensity, pulls her deeper into the moment in ways she can't explain. Secret 8, the rhythm that pulls her 8, the fearless masculine standard. Deeper in. My friend, let's be real. Most men think women respond to intensity, speed, or sheer effort. But if you actually pay attention to the way female psychology works, the way her emotions and sensations rise, you'll realize something far more important. What pulls her deeper in is not force, not pressure, not performance. It's rhythm, the pace, the flow, the shifts between stillness and movement, calm and heat, closeness and space. Rhythm is the emotional music she feels in her body, even when nothing physical is happening yet. The original breakdown made this brutally clear. Women don't melt because a man tries harder. They melt because a man knows how to move with intention. Rhythm is not about being predictable. It's about being in tune with her emotional state. If you move too fast, she disconnects. If you move too slow, she drifts. Secret 8. The rhythm that pulls her deeper in. Rhythm requires restraint, not restriction. Because the more control you have over your own pace, the more deeply she feels you without you needing to do anything dramatic. Women feel rhythm as trust, as steadiness, as mastery, not because you're performing, but because you are leading the moment with emotional precision. Here's what rhythm actually looks like. It's the way you slow your voice when she gets quiet. It's the pause you allow when the tension rises in her breathing. It's the subtle shift from deliberate to gentle, from assertive to soft, from teasing to intentional. Rhythm is what gives her space to feel. Without rhythm, the moment becomes mechanical. With rhythm, the moment becomes magnetic. In the breakdown, this was described as emotional pacing. And that's exactly what it is. A woman's sensations unfold in waves, peaks and rests, build and release if you understand that you can guide her without speaking. Gentlemen, listen carefully because she feels more than you think when she lets you that close. Most men think intimacy is about technique, about speed, or how long they can last. But when a woman finally opens her body to you, her mind is running a different program. She is scanning your energy, your focus, your self-control. She is wondering, am I safe with this man? Is he here with me or just using my body to escape his own emptiness? It creates emotional gravity. The feeling that she is being pulled toward you, not by your hands, but by your presence. When your rhythm is grounded, her experience becomes deeper because she is not reacting to chaos. She is surrendering to consistency. Men who rush destroy rhythm. Men who hesitate break rhythm. But men who can hold a steady, intentional pace become unforgettable because rhythm is not something you do. It's something she feels. It's how you make her mind quiet, how you make her body soften, how you create the moment she returns to in her thoughts long after the night is over. Remember this, my friend. Rhythm is your unspoken language. It's your leadership without words. And when you master it, she doesn't just respond to you. She follows you deeper into the moment because something inside her recognizes the flow and trusts it. Now, anchor this truth. Drop a comment with the words, "I set the pace." And that is the moment her guard dissolves. Now anchor this truth. Drop a comment with the words, "I bring presence." Don't go anywhere because the next secret reveals how your rhythm, not your words, not your intensity, pulls her deeper into the moment in ways she can't explain. Secret 9, the unpredictable tension. 9, the unpredictable tension. She remembers. She remembers. My friend, let's be real. Women do not remember the predictable man. They do not replay the moments that felt scripted, routine, or emotionally flat. What stays in her mind, what lingers long after the night ends, is the tension she did not see coming, the shift in your energy she couldn't predict, the moment you surprised her without rushing her. Unpredictability done with intention, not chaos, is what creates the kind of memory she feels in her chest long after the moment is over. To make this real, let me bring you into a familiar situation. Picture a man named Thomas, 58, from Ohio. Steady guy, decades of experience, knows how to treat a woman well, but has always played it safe. He's dating a woman named Rachel, 53. Warm, witty, but guarded after years of choosing the wrong men. They've gone out a few times. She likes him, she trusts him, but she's not fully drawn in yet. Why? Because everything he does is nice, predictable, expected. My friend, let's be real. Women do not remember the predictable man. They do not replay the moments that felt scripted, routine, or emotionally flat. What stays in her mind, what lingers long after the night ends, is the tension she did not see coming, the shift in your energy she couldn't predict, the moment you surprised her without rushing her. Unpredictability done with intention, not chaos, is what creates the kind of memory she feels in her chest long after the moment is over. She feels the moment sharpen. She leans back slightly, testing the space. He doesn't follow. She leans in. He stays grounded. She pauses, waiting for him to fill the silence. He doesn't. He lets the moment breathe. That unpredictability, that subtle contrast creates tension she feels down to her breath. Because for once, she's not the one steering the emotional direction. He is calmly, quietly, without trying to impress her. This is the essence of Secret 9. Women respond to contrast the shift from playful to steady, from warm to quiet, from lightness to intensity, not dramatic swings, not unpredictable behavior, emotional texture, the kind of subtle tension that makes her feel like something is happening beneath the surface, something she can't fully name. That is what her mind remembers later when she's alone. Not the jokes, not the compliments, the tension. One of the defining differences between average men and unforgettable men is this. Average men flatten the moment by being too consistent. Unforgettable men create moments that rise and fall, tighten and release, deepen and soften. That emotional contour is what makes her wonder about you hours later. It's what makes her replay the moment in her mind. Wording by wording, breath by breath. Back to Thomas and Rachel. When he finally speaks, his tone is lower, slower, more grounded. He says something simple, nothing poetic, but said with weight, and that shift tone, timing, presence lands harder than anything he could have rehearsed. Rachel feels a small jolt inside. Not excitement, not nervousness, attraction, because unpredictability, when guided by stability, makes a woman feel alive, in ways routine never can. Here's what most men don't understand. Unpredictability doesn't mean inconsistency. It means emotional dimension. It means you're not stuck in one mode. It means she can feel different layers of you without you performing any of them. Women remember the moments that catch them off guard because those moments reveal a man's depth, not his tricks. That's why the tension she remembers is the tension she didn't expect. Now anchor this truth. Drop a comment with the words, "I create spark." Don't go anywhere because the next secret reveals the emotional imprint that stays with her long after everything else fades. Secret 10. The lasting impression inside. 10. The lasting impression inside her mind. Her mind. My friend, let's be real. Every man wants to be remembered, but very few understand what actually stays with a woman long after the moment ends. It's not the performance. It's not the intensity. It's not even the chemistry alone. What lingers in her mind is the emotional imprint you leave behind. The way she felt in your presence, the way your energy settled her, the way you showed up as a man who knew himself. Women remember the internal experience, not the external moment. And that is why the lasting impression is not created by effort. It is created by essence. To understand this, you need to recognize something most men never learn. A woman does not replay the details. She replays the feeling. She replays the moment her guard lowered without fear. She replays the silence that felt warm instead of awkward. She replays the shift in your tone that made her chest feel lighter. She replays the sense of being seen without having to perform. These are the things that etch themselves into her memory because they speak to her nervous system, not her logic. The lasting impression is formed when a man brings a level of emotional steadiness she doesn't experience often. A man who doesn't rush. A man who doesn't break presence. a man who doesn't need validation. When you show up with that kind of grounded strength, you become the calm she didn't know she needed, and that calm becomes the echo she carries with her long after the night is over. It's not about being perfect. It's about being aligned. Women remember the man who made them feel safe enough to soften. Not weak, not fragile, soft. That softness is something she cannot manufacture. It happens only in the presence of a man whose energy is stronger than her defenses. That impression stays with her because it's rare. Most men create noise. Few create stillness. The man who creates stillness becomes unforgettable. Another part of the lasting impression is the way you close the moment. Not with a performance, not with a dramatic gesture, but with intentional presence. When the moment slows and you don't rush to fill the space, she feels the depth of your self-control. When you leave without clinging, she feels your confidence. When you say something grounded, not scripted, she feels the weight of your sincerity. These subtle actions tell her something important. This man is not trying to take anything from me. He's not seeking reassurance. He's not hiding behind charm. He's here because he chooses to be, not because he needs to be. The Stoics understood this idea long before modern psychology. Marcus Aurelius said, "What we do now echoes in eternity." He wasn't talking about relationships, but the principle fits perfectly. The way you hold yourself in the small moments echoes in her mind later. The way you breathe, the way you pause, the way you hold the energy of the room, all of it becomes part of the memory she carries home. And that memory is what creates the lasting impression. The truth is simple, my friend. You leave a lasting impression not by trying to deepen the moment, but by being a man who naturally deepens it. When your presence is anchored, when your intention is steady, when your energy is calm but undeniable, you create a psychological imprint she returns to again and again. That is what makes her think about you at unexpected times. That is what makes your connection stay alive long after the moment ends. You don't stay in her mind because you tried. You stay in her mind because you were real, grounded, and unforgettable in your stillness. And that is the final secret. My friend, what you heard today was more than a list of secrets. It was a conclusion. Blueprint for understanding the psychology, the emotion, and the inner world a woman moves through in the most intimate moments. When you carry yourself with presence, rhythm, patience, and grounded masculine energy, you don't just connect with her body. You leave an impression in her mind that lasts far beyond anything physical. If you want to go deeper into the private teachings, the Stoic frameworks, and the advanced dynamics I cannot share, publicly join the channel membership. It's built for men who take this work seriously. And if you want videos like this delivered to you every day, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now. Thank you for watching, my friend. I appreciate you being here, and I'll see you tomorrow.